Welcome back to our YouTube channel. For today's topic, we're going to be talking about college and what our experience has been like. So stay tuned. Just want to do a quick PSA announcement. Starting up a YouTube channel from scratch is really hard, so we would appreciate if you liked and shared and subscribed to our channel. Thank you. I think my thoughts on college have changed over the years. I feel like when I first started back in 2007, 2006, after I graduated high school, I remember thinking man, this is the one thing that I want. And I feel like there is a lot more pleasure in actually working hard to actually get there to graduate than actually getting the degree. Because when I finally got it, I was like, that's it? This is it? You get a fucking measly piece of paper and, you spend all this money and time and you're just like, that's it? That's all I get? So I think in retrospect, I think the hard work is I think where it's really at. And I think in those moments, it really pushes you to your limit. And I think that that's another thing that school can do for you. It's it can really push you to your limit, especially when your desire is to really, when you really have a goal to accomplish something, or you have very, specific interest in a topic or a research paper that you're trying to do. And so I think it can become really taxing on you, even just emotionally, you're like, can I do this? Can I not? And I think there's many times where of course I thought about giving up, but I feel like that was never an option. I think I was just mentally exhausted more than anything, but I just knew I had to finish. And I think my biggest motivator was my son. I had Jacob since, I started college, so I didn't know anything else other than going to college, with the small child. And I feel like he made it all worthwhile too. I obviously want to be a role model to him, and I would never pressure him and force him to go to college, but I do hope that he does want to go, and I feel like I've been a role model for that. But at the end of the day, it'll be his choice. And I feel like now, as I've gotten older and I'm now in a career and have experienced life outside of college, I feel man, it's not everything I thought it would be. And I think that that's kind of the sad part, for example, because I have my degree in an arts major in the arts department, it's not valued as much as somebody who was studied and became a lawyer. Why? Because lawyers get paid well and doctors get paid well, but if you wanted to become a teacher, which I thought about doing, if you're not making good money, much less being able to afford to pay back your student loans. And I think that that's the sucky part of having to live with the degree in the real world and being part of the larger society is it might not be everything you wanted it to be. And I think that that's kind of what hit me a ton of bricks. I feel when I was in the master's program 2 years in, it just hit me a ton of bricks. I was like, dang, I owe all this money, I'm still getting paid the same. It's not even my boss thought about giving me a raise or anything. And all I could think about was well, I need to get a better job. Why? Because I need to pay off student loans. And I feel that's part of your education that nobody tells you. And that nobody's hey, do you know how much you need to be paying back? If they're you need to pay back $500 a month, that's a lot of fucking money, And I think that's just a sad reality. And it's a bigger problem of society and just the types of careers and professions that we value versus others. Teachers don't get paid well enough, and that sucks. So I feel when you're kind of deciding what you want your life to look like, it's well, what kind of career do you want? How much money do you want to be making? And I'm not saying it's impossible. You can always change your career. You can always do better things. You can always try to make more money, but it's
or even go back.
Yeah, because for the longest I was well, I'm going to go to a PhD program. Do I really want to go to a PhD program? Oh, man. I mean, I'm not going to say it's still not in the back of my mind, but I really do think about it a lot more, because I'm that means that for a PhD program, I'll probably get into debt another $100,000. So by the time I'm done with my education, it'll be $200,000 in debt. That's a quarter of a house, And you have to live with that, and you have to pay for it for the rest of your life, just like you would a house.
Yeah, that's true.
I think this is a part in the video where I start crying. But no, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, I think it's a lot to think about, and it's a huge burden. And I think that maybe, you know, I think about it into it too much, but I'm sure that a lot of other people go through the same thoughts where it's just like, it's a huge burden now. Now you're left with the debt. You know, you don't get adequate financial education in college to be like, unless you're a financial major, but like, nobody's telling you these things, you know? And nobody's telling you like, hey, how much money do you really need to actually pay for college? And, you know, and the reason why a lot of people end up taking a lot more money is because life happens, you know? If you don't want to work and just focus on school so you could finish sooner, so that way you'll be less in debt, you still have to take out more money. I mean, it's so many reasons. That's just a quick example, but there's so many reasons why. You know, I have friends who like had fucked up life situations and they needed to take out more money, and it's just like stuff like that too, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think that I made mistakes in taking out, you know, loan money, but I feel like people can learn from that and just be a lot more thoughtful in like how much loan money you want to take out, you know, if you can finish school sooner so that you don't have to take out more loan money, like that's the best advice I could give anybody, you know, so that, you know, the sooner you're done, like the sooner you have your degree and, you know, can move on with your career. But, you know, these are things that, you know, I would tell my son, like, just really think about it, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's going to be left paying with all of that. Nobody else but you. And just make sure it's what you want. And if you feel like you think it's worth it, you should definitely do it. I'm not trying to discourage anybody. I'm just sharing, like, what my education was like and, you know, the aftermath of it. It should be like college aftermath. Okay, I'm done ranting.
So the reason why I'm going to school, or I chose to go to school, is because I have a pretty decent job. It pays well. It has benefits, but it's not something that I want career-wise. And I noticed that my job also, it's pretty flexible when it comes to going to school. So I'm trying to take just full advantage of it and trying to do all the schooling that I can in order to actually start a career, do a career that I'm interested in. My interests are a lot around the arts. So I've changed it around a few times already, but I think I've kind of got it figured it out. My goal is to get a bachelor's. I'm not really happy where I'm at, or at least just career-wise. And I think that's what really motivates me at the end of the day to really push to go to school and try to finish, to actually start doing something that I really do like. I also want to be a pretty good role model for my daughter, for her to know that she has a lot of options. You know, if the university isn't for her, there's always community college to try it out, see what she likes. For me, it's just school's very important because it's taught me a lot of things, a lot of eye-openers when it comes to like writing, particularly writing, having certain discussions, holding certain discussions.
You're overthinking it.
I know.
Make it conversational. If you were on a date and a guy's asking you, why are you going to college?
Get the fuck out of where I'm at.
Then say that.
Pretty much my end goal is to get out of the department that I'm currently in to actually...
Okay, so why don't you tell people how long you've been there?
I've been with the county for already 10 years. And I don't like it. I appreciate the job. I appreciate what I have. It's just not what I want career-wise. That's it. It's pretty simple. It's just not something that I want career-wise. And I think going to community college and exploring different classes and talking to different teachers have really helped me to really figure out what is it that I really want.
But why don't you want to be at the county anymore?
It's just not something that I want career-wise. I like the idea of being able to help the public, but it's not something that really motivates me or really pushes me to be like, this is something that I really like and enjoy on a day-to-day basis. And I know not every job is going to be pleasant, not every job is going to be great, but I want to be able to be like, this is something that I chose and this is something that I enjoy doing at the end of the day. And that's what really matters to me. So that also helps me and motivates me to do better in school and to keep pushing through, because it's not always easy. Some days are harder than others. You know, whether I'm sick or stuck in traffic or having to change in my car or trying to study at work or trying to finish last minute homework at work as well, or staying up even later from coming home from school. Like, all of that is a roller coaster, but at the end of the day, all of it is worth it for me. It's worth it. I think for me, there was a period where I was just kind of going on and off and taking kind of like classes that I needed and then classes that I didn't, kind of just like wasting time. And then I think at one point it hit me.
Why though? Why do you think that? What was going on?
I think I was kind of like all over the place. Like, I knew I wanted to go and I enjoyed going. I think I just wasn't focused on where I wanted to go, what did I want to get, or if I even wanted to transfer, let alone what I wanted to major in. So it was really easy to get distracted and be like, well, I think I'll go this semester or maybe next semester, or I'll just drop the class because I don't like it. Like, just trying to find different excuses. But then I think at one point I was just like, I wasted enough time here. And if I would have not like, if I would have been more focused and more harder on myself and been like, no, we're going to do this, we're going to see it through. Let's actually sit down and actually plan it out the right way, with whether on my own or with the counselor, to actually have a plan in action, to actually see it through. I would have not wasted as much time. And it actually got me down for a while, because I was like, wow, I wasted so many amount of years and I could have been done by now. And I remember for a while, it would linger with me, and I would actually kind of feel bad. But then at one point I was like, no, I shouldn't feel bad. I was like, because I'm still going. And now I feel even more determined than ever to actually finish. I was like, maybe at that time, my head wasn't where it should have been. Yeah. Things were not planned out right. So it makes sense to be all over the place and not maybe take it too serious. But I think now that I've been able to talk to counselors, like even my sister will sit down and, we'll talk about it and she'll help me with certain things. I feel like when you actually do have a plan in action and actually take the time, it makes things easier. It's kind of like just trimming the fat. You cut a lot of these things out. It is. And you get to where you want to be a little faster. Maybe you feel like you're wasting time. Sometimes it could feel like that. But don't allow that to discourage you. I think it's just finding a plan and sticking to it is what's really going to help you. Really going to help you. And I think it's nice that not all, but from what I've read, certain community colleges have certain programs for working adults, which works great, let alone doing weekend classes. Like, if you feel like you just can't during the week, they do have weekend classes and even online classes. I think just starting off with maybe one class and starting off slow and taking it from there makes a big difference. It's just, for me, I just got to tell myself and be like, is this what we really want? Like,
so, like, as you guys can see, like, both of our experiences are completely different. My sister's still in community college. I've already graduated, but I feel like I was able to learn a lot of things that I was able to share with her, so that she didn't have to waste time, or she made better decisions that I didn't necessarily make. And it's the same thing I would tell my kid, and my niece, like, just think it through, just make sure it is what you want, and have fun while you're there, because college can be a really fun experience, and you can meet a lot of amazing people, friends that you'll have for the rest of your life, and I think overall, like, it could be really good. But just keep in mind that they, especially, I think most importantly with the financial aspect of it, like, that's something that you need to take really serious, because it could be a burden, later on in life.
Kids are not kids.
Kids are not kids, yeah, whether you have kids or not. It's not easy either way, but like we know as single mothers, like, it is definitely a challenge, but you can do it. We're rooting for you.
Always.
If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But yeah, thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Bye.
Take it.
Bye.